Are you striving to perfect your hip thrust form for some serious glute gains? You're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the world of hip thrusts, a key exercise in the fitness realm that often doesn't get the attention it deserves. Now, why are hip thrusts so important, you may ask? Well, they are a powerhouse move for activating and strengthening the glutes, those muscles that not only contribute to your body's aesthetic appeal but also play a critical role in your overall strength, stability, and performance. By incorporating hip thrusts into your workout routine, you can effectively target and build your glutes like no other exercise. But it's not just about doing the move, it's about doing it right. Perfecting your form is crucial to ensure maximum engagement of the target muscles and to avoid any potential injuries. Stay tuned to learn how to perfect your hip thrust form and maximize your glute gains. Before we dive into the details, let's understand the basics of a hip thrust. The hip thrust is a weight training exercise designed to strengthen and tone your glutes. That's your butt muscles in layman's terms. But it doesn't stop there. It also targets your hamstrings and lower back muscles, making it a fantastic compound exercise for overall lower body strength and conditioning. Picture this. You're sitting on the ground with your back against a bench, feet flat on the floor and knees bent. You're holding a barbell across your hips. From this position, you drive your hips upward, lifting the barbell as you go. Your body forms a straight line from your knees to your shoulders at the top of the movement. Then, you lower your hips back down, and that's one rep. The hip thrust is all about that upward drive, powered by your glutes. Think of it as a bridge, but with a bit more oomph. That oomph is what makes the hip thrust such a potent exercise for developing those glute muscles. And let's not forget the bonus. Stronger glutes contribute to a better posture, enhanced athletic performance, and decreased risk of lower back and knee injuries. So what makes the hip thrust so special? Well, unlike traditional squats or lunges, the hip thrust places less strain on your spine while still providing a high level of glute activation. It's a win-win situation, really. You get the benefit of a challenging lower body workout without the potential pitfalls of spinal compression. The hip thrust is versatile too. You can perform it with a barbell, dumbbells, or even just your body weight. It's a move that can be easily modified to suit your fitness level and goals, making it a staple in many strength and conditioning programs. But remember, as with any exercise, form is key. A poorly executed hip thrust can do more harm than good. So, it's important to take the time to learn the proper technique. Now that we know the basics, it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of perfecting the form. Mastering the form of hip thrusts is crucial for effective glute workout. This is where we delve into the nitty-gritty of getting that hip thrust form just right. Let's break it down step by step, shall we? Step 1. Setup. Start by sitting on the ground with a bench behind you. Your back should be leaning against the bench right below your shoulder blades. Your feet should be planted firmly on the ground about shoulder width apart. Step 2. Positioning the weight. If you're using a barbell, place it across your hips. If you're a beginner, you might want to use a bar pad or a folded mat to prevent discomfort. Remember, the weight should be resting on your hip bones, not your stomach. Step 3. The lift. Now comes the fun part. Push through your heels, lifting your hips off the ground until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Your glutes should be fully contracted at the top. This is the part where you're really working those glutes. Step 4. The descent. Lower your hips back down, but don't let them touch the ground. Keep the tension in your glutes and hamstrings. This is where control comes into play. Now let's talk about some common mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistake 1. Arching your back. This is a big no-no. Arching your back takes the focus away from your glutes and puts unnecessary strain on your lower back. Remember, it's all about the hips, not the back. Mistake 2. Not going high enough. If you're not lifting your hips high enough, you're not fully activating your glutes. Aim to form a straight line from your shoulders to your knees at the top of the lift. Mistake 3. Rushing the movement. Hip thrusts are not about speed. Slow, controlled movements are key for maximum glute activation. And finally, mistake 4. Not keeping your feet flat on the ground. Your feet are your anchor. Keeping them flat ensures stability and helps direct the force upward, right where you want it. Here's a bonus tip. If you're finding it hard to feel the burn in your glutes, try some activation exercises before you start your hip thrusts. Glute bridges or clamshells can be a great warm-up to get those muscles firing. Now it might seem like there's a lot to remember, but don't let that intimidate you. With practice, these steps will become second nature. Remember, it's not about lifting the heaviest weight or doing the most reps. It's about using the correct form to target the right muscles. So, take your time, pay attention to your body, And don't be afraid to start with lighter weights or fewer reps. As you get stronger and more confident, you can gradually increase the intensity. It's also important to note that everyone's body is different. What works for one person might not work for another, so don't be discouraged if it takes you a bit longer to master the form. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and most importantly, keep going. Consistency is key in fitness, and the same applies to hip thrusts. So don't be discouraged if you don't see results immediately. Keep at it, and soon enough you'll start noticing those glute gains. Remember, practice makes perfect. Keep these tips in mind the next time you perform a hip thrust. And before you know it, you'll be a hip thrust pro, reaping the benefits of this fantastic glute strengthening exercise. Ready to take your glute gains to the next level? Here are some advanced tips. First, let's delve into tempo manipulation. This technique involves altering the speed at which you perform your hip thrusts. By slowing down the eccentric or lowering phase, you can increase the time your muscles are under tension. Try a 4-second lowering phase, a brief pause at the bottom, then explode up. This will fire up your glutes like never before. Now, onto pause reps. This is where you hold the peak contraction of your hip thrust for a few seconds before lowering back down. This is not a rest period, folks. It's an opportunity to squeeze your glutes as hard as you can, increasing the intensity of each rep. It's about quality, not quantity. Incorporating pause reps into your routine will lead to noticeable improvements in your glute strength and size. Lastly, we have band resistance. Using a resistance band around your knees during hip thrusts can help you engage your glutes more effectively. The band forces you to push your knees out, which activates the gluteus medius, the muscle on the outer part of your buttock. This can help enhance your overall glute shape and strength. Now, these techniques are advanced for a reason. They're not easy, and they shouldn't be. They're designed to push your glutes to their limits, helping you break through any plateaus and stimulate maximum growth. But remember, consistency is key. These techniques won't transform your glutes overnight, but with time and dedication they can significantly enhance your results. Don't be afraid to experiment with these advanced techniques. Everyone's body is unique, and what works best for you might be a combination of these methods. Just remember to always perform your hip thrusts with proper form to avoid injury and ensure maximum glute activation. Incorporate these advanced techniques into your routine for an intense and effective workout. Let's do a quick recap of what we've learned today. We've delved into the world of hip thrusts, an exercise that's critical for strengthening and shaping your glutes. We started with the basics, breaking down the importance of this powerhouse move. We then walked through a step-by-step guide to perfect your form, ensuring you engage the right muscles without risking injury. We addressed common pitfalls like rushing through the motion, not fully extending at the top, and neglecting to keep your chin tucked and ribs down. Remember, attention to these details can mean the difference between mediocre and maximum glute gains. In the final section, we explored advanced techniques to further intensify your workouts, such as adding resistance bands or adjusting foot positions. These tweaks can help you challenge your glutes in new ways and accelerate your progress. Remember, consistency is key in fitness. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be reaping the benefits of perfect hip thrusts. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fitness tips and tricks.